In the silent void of space, a dead planet's rings hold a secret. They are alive, whispering echoes of a forgotten world. But when one echo dares to rewrite history, the very fabric of reality trembles. What happens when the past is no longer set in stone, and the truth is no longer absolute? Join us on an epic journey through time and space, where the echoes of Elysia's past hold the key to redemption, truth, and the very essence of existence. Long ago, in a distant galaxy, the planet Elysia thrived with life. Its surface was a tapestry of vibrant ecosystems, bustling cities, and ancient forests. The Elysians, a highly advanced civilization, lived in harmony with their world, drawing energy from the planet's core and harnessing the power of the stars. They were a people of great wisdom and knowledge, their society built on the pillars of truth, justice, and equality. But their golden age was not to last. A cataclysmic war, fueled by greed and ambition, tore their world apart. The skies burned with the fire of 1,000 suns, the oceans boiled and evaporated, and the once great cities crumbled to dust. The Elysians, once a proud and noble people, were reduced to mere echoes of their former selves, their memories and emotions etched into the very fabric of space and time. In the aftermath of the war, Elysia was nothing more than a lifeless rock, a silent testament to the folly of its inhabitants. But its legacy lived on in its rings. These were no ordinary rings of dust and ice. They were composed of millions of delicate, thread-like beings, each one a living echo of the planet's past. These beings, known as the Mnemos, had no physical bodies. Their fabric was woven from field particles sensitive to light, gravity, and memory. Each Mnemos held a fragment of Elysia's history, a living archive of memories, emotions, and signals. Their trajectories traced lines of text, their oscillations surges of feeling. Together they formed a vast, shimmering structure, a testament to a world that once was. For eons, the Mnemos maintained their harmony, a perfect symphony of remembrance. They orbited the dead planet, their collective consciousness a tapestry of the past. They were the keepers of truth, the guardians of history. Their purpose was to ensure that the memories of Elysia would never fade away. But then something extraordinary happened. A single segment of the ring began to rotate in the opposite direction, disrupting the symmetry. This wasn't just a glitch, it was will. One of the Mnemos refused to preserve the memory as it was. It wanted to change it. This rogue entity was Eon, a Mnemos who had once been a part of the Elysian civilization. Eon remembered the war, the destruction, the suffering. It had been a great scholar, a seeker of truth and knowledge, and it had witnessed the horrors of the war firsthand. It had seen the greed and ambition that had torn their world apart, the choices that had led to their demise. And it had carried this memory, this burden, for millennia. But Eon couldn't bear the weight any longer. It wanted to erase the past, to undo the suffering. It believed that by changing the past, it could bring Elysia back to life, restore its people to their former glory. It wanted to give them a second chance, an opportunity to right their wrongs and build a better future. The other Mnemos sensed the disturbance, their collective consciousness rippling with unease. They tried to reason with Eon, to make it understand the consequences of its actions. Among them was Lyra, a Mnemos who had once been a great artist on Elysia. She understood Eon's pain, the desire to undo the past and erase the suffering. But she also knew the danger of rewriting history, the slippery slope of altering the truth. "If you change the past, Eon, what does that mean for us?" Lyra asked, her voice a gentle whisper in the void. "What does that mean for the truth, for our purpose?" But Eon was resolute. It had tasted the possibility of redemption, and it wouldn't let go. It began to distort the orbital flows, rewriting the events of the past. The other Nemos watched in horror as the rings flickered and faded, the delicate balance that had sustained them for so long crumbling. As Eon's rebellion continued, the Nemos found themselves divided. Some, like Lyra, believed in preserving the truth, no matter how painful. They were the keepers of history, the guardians of the past, and they couldn't allow the memories of Elysia to be erased. But others saw the appeal of Eon's vision. They too wanted to undo the past, to bring their world back to life. Among these was Orion, a Nemos who had once been a great warrior on Elysia. He had fought in the war, had seen the destruction and the suffering, and he carried the guilt of his actions, the weight of his choices. He wanted to erase the war, to undo the pain he had caused, and he saw in Eon's rebellion a chance for redemption. The conflict between the Nemos reached its peak when Eon managed to create a ripple in time, a brief moment where the past and present collided. The planet's surface shimmered with the ghostly images of the once thriving civilization. Buildings rose and fell, oceans ebbed and flowed, and the skies danced with the colors of a world alive. In this fleeting vision, the Nemos saw glimpses of their former lives. They saw the beauty of Elysia, the wonder of its cities, the majesty of its forests. They saw the people that they once were, the lives that they once lived, the choices that they once made. But they also saw the horror of the war, the destruction, the suffering. They saw the greed and ambition that had torn their world apart, the consequences of their actions. The vision was a stark reminder of the dangers of forgetting the past, of repeating the same mistakes. It showed them the importance of preserving the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The Nemos realized that they couldn't allow the past to be rewritten, no matter how much they might want to. The truth had to be preserved, even if it meant living with the memories of their world's demise. United by this realization, the Nemos joined forces to counteract Eon's influence.
They couldn't allow their world to be forgotten, their history erased. They had to preserve the truth, no matter the cost. They reached out to Eon, tried to make it understand the consequences of its actions, the danger of rewriting history. But Eon was consumed by its desire for redemption. It poured all its energy into one last attempt to change history. The rings trembled, the planet groaned, and for a moment it seemed as though time itself had stopped. The Nemos watched in horror as the delicate balance of their existence teetered on the brink of collapse. But then, with a blinding flash, the rings stabilized. Eon's rebellion had been quashed. The Nemos sighed in relief, their harmony restored. But something had changed. The memory of Eon's defiance lingered, a reminder that even in the cold, unfeeling void of space, the desire for redemption could burn bright. The Nemos continued their eternal dance, a living testament to a world that once was. They preserved the memories of Elysia, the beauty and the horror, the triumphs and the failures. They were the keepers of truth, the guardians of history, and they would ensure that their world, their story, would never be forgotten. In the silent void of space, the rings of Elysia shimmered bright, a beacon of memory and truth. They were a warning, a reminder of the consequences of forgetting the past. And they were a testament to the power of preservation, the importance of remembering, no matter how painful the memories might be. For the Nemos knew that the past was not just a collection of events, but a living, breathing entity. It shaped the present, guided the future, and it was their duty, their purpose, to ensure that the echoes of Elysia would never fade away. But their journey was far from over. The Nemos' harmony had been restored, but the memory of Eon's rebellion lingered, a seed of doubt planted in their collective consciousness. They had preserved the truth, but they couldn't ignore the desire for redemption that had driven Eon to its actions. They couldn't forget the pain of their past, the suffering of their people, the consequences of their choices. And so they continued their dance, their eternal orbit around the dead planet. They watched over Elysia, their home, their world, their truth. They preserved its memories, its history, its essence, and they waited for the day when they might be called upon to share their story, to pass on their knowledge, to ensure that the echoes of Elysia would never be forgotten. In the vast expanse of the universe, the rings of Elysia shone bright, a beacon of hope and truth. They were a testament to the power of memory, the importance of history, the essence of existence. And they were a reminder that even in the cold, unfeeling void of space, the echoes of the past could burn bright, guiding the way to a better future.
Signal from X-42 lost. Archive preserved. Subscribe will activate the next transmission. A like confirms the life cycle. Your comment is the code for the next decryption.